I'm at the studio this morning trying to organize, getting rid of some items that I no longer use and moving other important items into locations where they're most likely to be used. The problem is that before I can move anything, I've got to move something else first. So where do I start? And this reminds me of the chicken and egg paradox. Which comes first? And what I'm realizing right now in this moment, as I look at this through the lens of the two hemispheres of the brain and what I'm learning from the book, The Master and His Emissary, I see that that type of question arises from the left hemisphere because it needs things to be linear. It needs things to progress. It needs things to be placed in a hierarchy of priority, which by the way means one. It doesn't mean several. Like I have several priorities. No, you can only ever have one. And if you have more than one, then one of them isn't a priority. So if I sit here trying to figure out with my left hemisphere what to do first, I'm unlikely to do anything because I'm not going to be able to find a way out of that paradox, out of that recursive loop. The only way out is in, which means to fall into the right hemisphere, and rather than have a plan mapped out in advance, just move around the room and touch things and move things, not knowing what the sequence is going to be, but just engaging with the environment and finding my way into movement, finding my way into an organization that arises out of a sense of being in the space rather than arising out of a detached vantage point where I need to neatly place things into categories before I can touch them. And I think this is where a lot of procrastination comes from, is that people are stuck in their left hemisphere trying to figure out how to do something by breaking it into what's. But the left hemisphere doesn't know how, it only knows about what's. So we need to immerse ourselves in the environment and we need to touch it. We need to move it. We need to be inspired by it. And then we'll observe things changing and shifting. And we'll notice ourselves moving things around that don't fit into a plan. And yet, through that engagement, my studio suddenly gets organized. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? Who cares? When I'm a little overwhelmed, one of my meditative practices is to throw butter knives. Yeah, butter knives. My dad taught me how to throw them when I was, like 5 years old, and I kid you not. Most kids were playing with toys and I was playing with knives. Anyway, I've been throwing them for, 47 years now. And there is nothing more satisfying than feeling the knife leave your hand and enter into the target and just make that sound, that thud. And it just pulls all of the stress out of you. It's cleansing. These are standard butter knives. 3 of them are the same and 2 of them are different. So each one has a different balance point.